Can we have like the few people who wanted to present ideas? We have 2 microphones for you up here, so would you come up to both of those microphones? The governor wanted to have you on stage, but I felt you were a security risk, so to me. That's why we have you at these microphones here.
Can you come up if you don't have a pre-prepared question?
Yeah, we'll do that in the second phase, but the first one, and these are really more ideas that people wanted to present to you and maybe get a little feedback from you, maybe get a pointer in terms of where would you take this idea within state government, or who would you... This is like office hours with Governor Patrick here. All right, I think we have Kelly Powers and her entourage at this microphone, and Branko Gorovich at this microphone. So Kelly, why don't you go first? Tell us who you are, first of all.
Hi, I'm Kelly Powers. I'm from the Advanced Math and Science Academy in Marlborough, Massachusetts.
Excellent.
And I'm here with my students, Soleil, Ben, Sean, Emily, Ian, Ms. Bandaru, my colleague, and Stephanie Castro.
Good morning.
And Mr. Sweeney, I'm sorry, I didn't see the boss is here. So just as Tom Hopcroft kicked off the meeting, we are trying to change the world. This community here is trying to change the world. And because Massachusetts lacks widespread K-12 computer science education and standards, most students today and in their future will not have the opportunity to take a single computer science course. Given that the mass economy is driven by high-tech, biotech, finance, and healthcare sectors, they are all depending on computing talent and expertise to fill jobs. The first step to making computer science K-12, the first step in fixing this problem, first of all, we all want to help you fix this problem. You have the right people in the room, and you have the right students in the room. And the first steps to making computer science K-12 count, the first steps to fixing this problem, sorry, a little nervous.
Take your time.
We're trying to get computer science count as a core course in education. So can we get your support to make computer science count as a requirement to graduate from high school as a start?
Sure.
Thank you.
You got me. Let me ask you this. Would you add a computer science component to the MCAS?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you add to the school day? Of course, you have a longer school day, right?
So
you already
our school,
do, right?
we have computer science as a mandatory course in grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. As a matter of fact, Emily can probably fix your red line problem.
Their school day starts at 7:30 with a hotel breakfast at the Renaissance every day, which is very nice.
What's your school day?
We start at 8 and we end at 3:15.
So who would you take that idea to? You know, if Kelly wants to get a group of other teachers and students and parents together, who would you take that idea to move it forward?
Mitchell Chester, who is the Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education, and if you will, where are you, Sam? Sam Morrell, we'll get you a card, and we'll make that happen.
All right, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Please help us thank
Thank
Kelly
you.
for being the first. All right, so Branko Gorovich, tell us who you are and kind of what's on your mind.
So, I've been working in technology in the Boston area for years, and there's always been an advantage to being in the Boston area and being able to operate internationally and nationally. About 10 years ago, I noticed that that was beginning to change, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was, so I started looking at a bunch of data. And so I'm going to present some data, and this fits into a category that my wife likes to call data you don't want to know, and you'll know why in a second. So if you look at the S&P 1,500 companies, the top 1,500 companies in the US, about 273 of those companies are in the technology sector. And of those, 74 companies were formed in the last 20 years, roughly. And of those 74 companies, how many were formed in Massachusetts? 2. There are 5 other regions in the United States, and you can guess who they are, that together formed 50 of those companies. So by any of these measures, the Boston area is falling way behind.
Why do you think that is?
In just a second.
Okay.
The,
Wait for the punchline.
Wait for the
Okay.
punchline. The thing that's disappointing about this is that if you look, and a lot of the things we talk about here, if you look at what's happened in the past 20 years, the internet economy has developed, the personal computers, mobile computing, social media, whole bunches of things have developed in the Boston area. Those ideas came from this area,
Right.
but they didn't turn into jobs
Right.
in this area. So you have to start looking at why that is. Now, one of the things that is different about Massachusetts from some of these other areas is the way that non-competes are enforced. And I know, Governor Patrick, that you've looked at this in the past, but a major change that we could make to this area would be to eliminate non-compete agreements. And I mean totally eliminate them. There's been legislation that's been languishing for years to try to make some changes to the egregious aspects of non-compete agreements. But we're not doing anything to really change that. And when you talk with a lot of people, I hear that a lot of people here are in agreement with this. When you talk with people, everyone agrees that, gee, let's do something about this, let's eliminate them, but we never seem to be able to make
Well,
any
and no one
progress.
wants to unilaterally disarm and say like, hey, we're the one company where you don't have to sign a non-compete to work here.
Well, but they can just work through the legislative process and become a lot of voices to make those changes.
Yeah.
Because non-compete agreements are really constraining startup companies. You can't, when you reach, one of the problems that I ran into several years ago, I was trying to hire people in a startup company. We were well-funded, and I couldn't hire people because of non-compete agreements. I couldn't bring them in because they had non-compete agreements where they were currently working, or they were laid off of where they were currently working, and still had a non-compete agreement that prevented them from working for me. And
Okay,
we just
so-
need to fix that.
So I think we have the point about getting rid of non-competes entirely. I have to say, having been to California last November and visiting Pinterest, which, just got I think $2.5 billion valuation, and it's not even a public company, you go around the halls there and everyone has come from Facebook. You see this migration of people from one hot company to the next to sort of help it grow from the startup stage. So what would you say to the non-compete idea? Kind of who do you talk about that with, given that, there are one or two or three people in the legislature that care about it and have been writing legislation, but doesn't seem to be getting much momentum the last few years?
Bronco, two things I would say. But first of all, I have looked at this. I think I'm where you are. There are a handful of tech sector leaders who are very much on the opposite side of this question. So you should know that it's not like there's unity. Sorry?
Boo.
It's not. Well, I have to listen to everybody, but it's not like there's unanimity in the tech sector. That's all I'm saying. I want to acknowledge that. I'm not practicing law anymore, but I have some serious doubts as a lawyer whether a personal services non-compete is even enforceable in Massachusetts. But leave that aside. I'm very, very interested in this question. I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. You have to do it, right? You got to, the same thing, same point I make to those who believe we should be investing in transportation and education in the ways I proposed or otherwise. You have to make the legislature move. They won't move just because I tell them to. I think if you can make the connection you did between job growth and wealth creation, and the presence of non-competes, particularly as you compare it to California and to some extent New York, that's a pretty compelling case, particularly at a time when our focus is or should be on job creation.
That's
All
right.
right, thank you, Bronco.
Thank you.
All right, so tell us who you are at this microphone over here.
My name's Andrew from iMedia Solutions.
Andrew.
All right, Andrew.
There we are. I agree with the previous gentleman. I have non-compete agreements and I cherish them. I'm also afraid to lose my talent because of the scarcity of talent in this area. But if it was unilateral and it was done by legislation, I would agree with that, definitely.
If it was not unilateral,
Not
I mean
unilateral.
across the board, if it was uniform.
Thank you. So I come from the 4th and 5th, did you call it the district or the 4th and 5th area, New Bedford, Fall River?
Yep.
Okay, and I bring with me two members of the Westport Town Committee, Selectman Spearlet and Tony Vieira. And I also agree with you on the news issue. Just want to get that out real quick. We have some big companies in Fall River and the same thing. They're not talking about them. So anyways, my idea, or my pain point, as was mentioned earlier, I think is shared with everyone else's pain point here, and that is the acquisition of talent. This is a beautiful state, innovative state, but we're all fighting for talent. And I happen to talk to, or I'm working with the local members, local government in Fall River, New Bedford, to try to help increase the education in the tech industry, specifically software. My company is a software company. And I happened to speak with a dean of a college here at MassTLC, and he shared the same concerns that the colleges and the schools are having trouble educating the students to meet the needs of the today's modern technology companies. And my suggestion is more for everybody here. I want or would like to suggest that everybody hop on board with what we're trying to do as well, which is open up education systems in our area. For example, we have a space in my area where we want to open up and create an education center that works in conjunction with the schools, both the college, UMass Dartmouth, as well as the high schools, and create programs for them to come in, like Kelly has done with her school, to learn about modern software technologies and modern technologies in general. And so that's my suggestion, and I was hoping everyone could, all the businesses could do that in their area, work with the local schools to help foster that talent, that necessary talent that there's a huge gap for right now.
Could I just build on your, first of all, thank you for your suggestions, Andrew, right?
Yes.
May I just build on Andrew's point? I think that there's an opportunity because of some work that we did together last year to refocus the community colleges, to engage as a company or as a sector in your neighborhood with a local community college and the Voc Tech schools, by the way, which are trying to form a stronger collaboration, and tell them what you need. Even if it's just a course, a certificate program, rather than a 2-year degree program, and then provide some employees who'll be willing to help them.
Well, that's what we're trying to do now.
Right.
Is we want to allow, because I hire from UMass Dartmouth, and I have to retrain them. They don't come in with the knowledge necessary and the education necessary.
Right.
And I also hire gentlemen who have been in the software industry for 20, 30 years. I have 3 in my office right now. I have to retrain them. They're still learning.
We have 230,000 people looking for work in Massachusetts today, and 150,000 job openings.
Exactly.
And that has everything to do with employers saying they are not able to find the people they need with the talents.
Exactly. There's one more thing, though. There's a significant gap between the education system and modern technology. And that's because of the rapid evolving ecosystem of technology. The stuff we're teaching right now is only years old. And so the teachers aren't available yet. We have to train the youth ourselves as businesses and get involved with helping the schools train the kids as well. So I think in the interim, until the youth have grown up and are able to become professors and teachers, I think in the interim, the businesses need to get more involved with the schools as well to help fill that gap. And I think the education center that we're trying to build down there is going to help fill that gap. And we don't want to do it alone. We want to do it with the schools.
And what's that going to be called, Andrew, this education center you're working
It's a software education center. I don't have a particular name for it. It's just software education center.
All right. Well, you teed up the last question that we know about, and then it looks like we have two other folks very nicely. So please help us thank Andrew for his
Thank you.
question. So Aaron O'Hearn from the Startup Institute, formerly Boston Startup School, which I think intends to fill exactly that gap that Andrew was talking about. But tell us about your issue.
Okay, so the Startup Institute, good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Aaron.
Hi, Scott. Startup Institute is a full-time school that trains people to be high-impact employees at startups. We're not focused on founders. All of our curriculum is tied directly to the industry. There's not an academic that comes in to teach. Sorry. It's all practitioners, all professionals. We've run 3 semesters so far. 94% of our graduates are going on to accept jobs at startups. My question is twofold, but
Aaron,
still.
where's the school?
Right now, we're at 290 Congress Street.
You're in town, in
Here in
Boston.
Boston, yeah.
And what's the age of the kids?
Anywhere from a recent college grad to a 42-year-old career changer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So the question is twofold. One, how can you help us as a new institution in Boston and the Commonwealth find a permanent space? And two, how can you help us take our engineering curriculum to local high school students?
So I can help you on the first one with, Greg, are you here?
He's running
Greg
the cameras in
Bialecki's
the
right back
yeah.
there, over your right shoulder by the back door, the Secretary of Economic Development and Housing.
That's really bright.
You guys talk to each other, exchange information. We'll see if we can help you with the space
Great.
issues.
Do you have your whole cabinet peppered around the room?
As the need arises, yes.
They rappel onto the roof. Yeah.
And on the education point, was it Mary? What was the name of the person? From,
Kelly.
Kelly. Similarly, maybe you should be a part of that conversation with the
Yeah.
with the commissioner. I mean, look, just to be real here, the commissioner's issue is going to be time.
Sure.
Time. I happen to think that we ought to get off of this school calendar that's based on farming, on the farming schedule, and have
Right.
a longer school day and have one that's more, I would say, well, that's very nice of you, but the first time I proposed that was in Marlboro in front of 600 middle schoolers, and I almost didn't get out alive. That is precisely the sort of thing that we're talking about investing in the budget I just proposed for precisely this reason. Because we need, I want to be clear, I don't think that the sole purpose of education is to prepare employees. But I do think that our schools have to be much more connected to where we're trying to drive the economy and, frankly, where the economy is driving us.
Right.
And that means a whole other set of skill sets. And it means a much more personalized kind of education than we have traditionally had in this country and in this Commonwealth in the past. We have some tools for that, but we're still working on content, and I think that's where you can help.
We're on it.
Thank you.
Everybody who's driving that sector of the economy is instructors. I mean, there's folks in the audience who have partnered with us. There's people who have come in and taught, so we feel good about it.
Excellent. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks.
So I'm getting the sign that we have time for just one last question. So we'll go over here. Yeah.
We'll connect the dots.
You're going to talk at the same
know
time.
each other.
Good.
So I'm the president of Teen Life Media, which is the only company that targets families with college-bound teens. We are...
What's your name?
Marie Schwartz.
Marie?
Yeah. So I heard a presentation by the head of the Federal Reserve Bank maybe a year ago about the importance of internships and providing internships. Anyway, she said that that most of the people working in Massachusetts today actually grew up here. And I am challenging everyone to think about reaching out to the kids who are currently in high school, who may go elsewhere for college, who will go elsewhere for college, and engage them to come back.
Yeah.
So what my company is able to do is we have an established reputation of promoting, we have the largest online directory, for example, of enrichment programs for teens today. If you have a kid who wants to go to summer programs, we have it.
Yeah.
Careers is the next segment that we haven't yet tackled. And I would love 10 to 50 companies in the room here to help fund an effort to use us to market their companies and their opportunities to current high school students. So that would include an online resource. It would include publications that can be interactive. There's amazing technology out there where you can give some kid a magazine or a parent and they can scan the picture with their smartphone and someone talks to them. We also have, we had an event at the Chestnut Hill Mall 2 weekends ago. We can attract them. We brought in over 1,000 people in 4 hours to find community service opportunities. So we know how to do that. We're a marketing company. But I can't do this without funding from the corporate sector. If you want my help to get kids connected to companies that interest them, and also their parents. So the parents come to these events. No one's talking to the parents. As kids listen to their parents. Doctors and lawyers don't know a thing about technology. I only went to I became an engineer at Princeton because my dad told me to, and this was in the late 70s. And so without that, and Scott, I would love your help because you have...
Well, I have an idea for you already, is we're going to lock the doors of the ballroom, right?
Yeah.
And you just charge everyone, what do you need, like $500 to get out?
$500,000 from this room today to
all right,
do this.
I'm doing the math. But
Called Now to Next.
Marie, how do people find you?
Teenlife.com. So Marie@teenlife.com.
Okay.
All right, awesome.
One thing you should definitely connect with at a minimum is the Stay Here
Yes.
campaign. Do you know about that?
Yes, I've
Okay.
been in touch with David
Okay, good.
and others in the room, but I'm operating at too low a level. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I really welcome the opportunity to tell you about this because we can do it. I have a team of 10 people who know how to do this. They're professionals, and we have been proven. We're not a startup.
That's
Okay?
great.
All right.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, Marie. So I'm getting, thanks. I'm getting frantic time signals from Heather, and your staff says we can take one last question. I thought Bob Kraft was going to come up and tackle me to get me off the stage, but go ahead, briefly, and we'll give you
Very
a brief answer.
I have a solution. In 2010, when the Great Recession hit, the age group hardest hit by the recession was youth. They had a 27% unemployment rate for kids 16 to 22. So I wondered what we could do to create jobs for youth that age, and started helparoundtown.com. It's a community job board. It launched in Lexington. We've facilitated 600 jobs in the last year. We just earned the Lexington Chamber of Commerce Award for Rising Star.
That's excellent.
But it's usable everywhere in Massachusetts. People just need to, anyone who needs help around the house for their business, small jobs. If you want to hire a local kid, it's a job board that's completely free to all parties. And the great thing is people have a profile and that they get rated and recommended. So it's really a reputation building tool so that a kid that nobody knows if he's reliable, if he'll show up on time, if you can count on him, it's just a way for them to start getting that first job that leads them on the way to all the great jobs we've been talking about.
That's great.
It's helparoundtown.com. It's available and it's free.
Helparoundtown.com. Good for you. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for helping
Thank you,
kick
Scott.
things off this morning. I really enjoyed it. And thank you all for presenting your ideas. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to get more questions in, but I think we need to continue on with the program here. So thanks very much, guys.
Good to be with you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.